married, and we don't have kids. You know, for 24 years we tried to want them, but just never, you know. That's one of my favorite jokes. I don't know why. Yeah. My wife is black. I'm not. So we have, you know, there's stuff that happens. Like she has a natural skincare company, a big natural skincare company that she runs. I help her run it, you know. But a lot of times I'm in situations where it's all black women and me, and it gets a little awkward. Like a few weeks ago, I was in one of and this lady says to me, she confronts me. She goes, "Are you of color?" And I was like, "Well, I'm not really of it. I'm around it a lot. About 3-4 times a week, I'm up in it. So I don't know." Another joke, not for down south, but you know, blessed is the kosher deli next door. So my wife has this skincare company. We live on this block in Brooklyn, and there's a hoarder on that block. I don't know if you guys haven't familiar with the hoarders, but there is an old lady that's a hoarder. That also, she's one of those ladies that everything is blessed. You know what I mean? You know, you're like, "Hey, how you doing?" "I'm blessed, just blessed." You know, blessed are the blessings upon the blessings with the blessings on the blessings, you know. Like the blessings get stackable, there's more and more blessings, which is funny to me, you know. So one day I got her mad at me. I didn't realize. I said to her, she goes, "So how are you doing?" I'm like, slightly blessed with a chance of curse, you know. Feeling a little blessed, you know. Bless is more. And she's like, "You're not blessed," and just went inside and stopped speaking to me completely. I'm like, great, I alienated another person, right? So that's a prelude to this here. What happened? So my wife's best-selling product is, it has a very unfortunate name. It's called nut milk, and I make it. I mean, I don't, you know, I manufacture it with ingredients, you dirty bastards. I manufacture it, you know, there's a shea butter and everything, but you know, the nut milk. But the nut milk people, I'm always telling you should change the name. No, the nut milk people know the nut milk. People love the nut milk, and it sells out everywhere across the country. So one day, there's one jar of it in our house, and she's like, "Listen, I've been saving this. There's a lady that's coming to buy it. She's coming from East New York. Her name's Marie. You know, she's going to be in a Subaru Outback. I don't want her to come by the house because she's a little crazy. I need you to meet her out on the street, you know, and she's going to try and short you, $75. She's going to try and give you 40. You know, she's a little desperate. She's very ashy, you know, whatever. So one guy laughs at the ashy, you know. So I'm like, all right. So I got all these instructions. So I'm out there waiting for the Subaru Outback, and then I see one come up. So I knock on the window. I'm like, "Hey, I got the nut milk," and the lady in there is like, "Get the hell away from the car," and pulls out a pepper spray, right? So I'm like, ooh, you know, wrong lady. That's not a good opening. You knock on someone's window and say, "Hey, I got nut milk for your face," you know, you're gonna get pepper sprayed, is what I'm trying to tell you. You got to be very selective. So after that, I'm like, I'm gonna be much more selective. You know, what do you call, so another Subaru Outback shows up. So I said, "Marie," there was a lady, and I thought it was her because the hands were, oh man, I've never seen such dry hands, powders, dust is coming off. She looked like she was chopping cocaine in the basement for Frank Lucas or something, or, you know, breech loading a musket or something, you know. And she's like, "Yes, it's me." And so I'm like, "I got the nut milk," and I give her the nut milk, and I should have got the money first. You know, I should have got the money first. I'm a rookie at this stuff. So she gives me 45. I'm like, "Oh no," she shorts me. I'm like, "It's 75, right?" So she's like, "Well, that's all I got." And she's like, "And I need it. Look at me, look at my hands, look at my hands. The dust is coming off." I'm like, I'm trying to think what we can do. And I'd see in the back of her car, she's got these Trader Joe's bags. So I'm like, I love that hummus that they got over there. I'm like, you have any of that hummus? She's like, "Why does it matter? I got like 6 of them." I'm like, "Give me the hummus. We'll call it even." Boom. So I get the hummus. She got the nut. Everything works out. But here's the thing. Thanks, lady, for laughing. She likes the hummus, too. That's that Trader Joe's hummus. It's underrated. So here's the thing. Here's what happens. So just like in the comedy business, where there'll be some, you know, comedians that will steal jokes, in the natural skincare business, there are people who steal recipes and they go to great lengths. Like I found, I'm stirring the nut milk one day, and my wife's online. That's a bad visual. I'm stirring the nut milk, and my wife's online. She starts crying. I'm like, "What's going on?" She's like, "Look, and there's a product called Nut Juice, which looks identical, right? And she goes, the guy who makes this stuff, he's like in Red Hook, Brooklyn. This guy called me. He pretended to be a customer. You know, he said he had eczema or something. He was asking about the percentages for allergies of these ingredients and everything. I told him the whole thing, and then he copied it, and here it is, and now it's Nut Juice. And I'm like, this is hard. And, I got my apron on. I feel like, I'm like, I gotta do something. I gotta do something. So I don't say anything to her. I'm like, I find this dude. His name is Todd, and he's like used to be an attorney, and now he makes natural skincare products, because that's the progression, that you would think of. It's like, hey, I got a yeast infection. I'll be a baker, And I find him online. It's like Todd, and he's got his his chef hat and everything, and his wooden spoon. So I find out where his place is at. I'm like, so I go over there, right, and I see him out there. He looks just like the picture. I'm like, you Todd? He goes, yeah. I'm like, you the dude that makes the nut juice? He goes, yeah. And I'm like, you stole it from the nut milk. And he's like, what are you talking about? He starts poking me with the spoon. I slap his chef's hat, and my wife told me all this other stuff about him, like his candles don't have soy, they're paraffin, like all this inside dough. I'm like, saying candles, soy, and a paraffin, and you got adult acne. And he's poking with a spoon. It's getting crazy, and it's like nut milk, nut juice, nut milk, nut juice. And two guys are watching. One guy's like, what's going on? He's like, a couple lovers having a little argument over there. Cop car comes, and I'm like, dude, listen. You better get rid of that. You better get rid of that nut juice, because nut milk that's what the original. Get rid of that, and I leave. Right, I leave. Well, next day my wife's online. It's gone. It's gone off of his site. I'm like, yeah, I feel like a man. Like I feel like I did something finally. I go out. I take a little break. I got the apron on or whatever, and the hoarder lady who has not talked to me, I'm standing out in front of the house, the hoarder lady who has not talked to me was like, would you mind just helping me? Would you mind just helping me bring some things inside and just some other things outside? And I'm just happy that there's peace. I'm like, sure, no problem. So I go in her house, I'm bringing stuff in. I see the stuff I'm bringing out is stuff that I threw out years ago. It's like, Encyclopedia Britannica collection, my flip-flops. I'm like, what do you do with my flip-flops, Yeah, and there's cat pee everywhere. It's like there's like 1,000 cats. Yeah, I mean, it's cat pee everywhere. So my hands are getting all cat pee-ish. I don't know how to, there's pee from the cats on my hands. And right then I get a text and I can't. I'm like, I don't want to touch the phone with the cat pee hand. So I asked the lady, would you just read the text to me? And it's from my wife, and it says, the lady reads it loud. It says that she needs me to come home now and make her a batch of hot nut milk. And the lady's like, well, what is hot nut milk? And I'm like, I'm blessed. I'm blessed.